Have you ever wondered how money, a simple medium of exchange, can change the course of a society, especially when it falls into the wrong hands? Money. It's a universal language that transcends borders and cultures. It's a tool that can build empires, but also has the potential to bring them crashing down. It's a force that can shape societies, influence actions, and drive decisions. But what happens when this powerful tool falls into the wrong hands? Picture this. A government official, entrusted with the responsibility of serving the public, uses their position to accumulate wealth at the expense of their constituents. A few extra zeros in their bank account may seem insignificant, but the ripple effects of their actions are far-reaching. Roads remain unpaved, schools are underfunded, and healthcare facilities lack the necessary resources to serve the people. All because money that should have been used for the public good has been redirected for personal gain. This is corruption, a worm that eats into the fabric of society, undermining trust and fostering inequality. It's a global problem that's not confined to any one region or level of economic development. From the smallest villages to the largest cities, from the poorest countries to the wealthiest nations, corruption exists, fueled by the misuse of money. But let's be clear, money itself isn't inherently bad. Like a hammer, it's a tool that can be used for good or for ill, depending on the hands that wield it. It can fund education, build infrastructure, and support innovation. It's the misuse of money, driven by greed and a lack of accountability, that creates problems. As we delve deeper into this topic, let's remember this. Money is not the root of all evil, it's the love of money, especially when it's at the expense of others, that breeds corruption. It's the unchecked power and influence that money can provide, particularly in the hands of those charged with serving the public, that can turn a force for good into a weapon of destruction. As we unpack this topic, remember, money itself isn't evil. It's how it's used that can create problems. Money can be a tool for great change, but what happens when that change is hidden from the public eye? Let's consider a real-life example. Picture a government official. Let's call him John Doe. John was elected by his community, entrusted with the responsibility of improving their lives. But instead, he saw an opportunity for personal financial gain. John used his position to award contracts to companies he secretly owned. These contracts were inflated. For every dollar supposed to be spent on public projects, 75 cents were siphoned off into John's pockets. As a result, public funds intended for the development of the community were diverted for personal gain. So what was the impact on the community? Well, imagine a local school that needed renovation. The allocated funds could have transformed it into a conducive learning environment. However, the money was reduced significantly due to John's actions. Consequently, the renovations were subpar, leaving the school in a barely improved state. In healthcare, the story was no different. The community hospital was in dire need of modern equipment. But again, due to the embezzlement, only a fraction of the necessary medical tools were purchased. The quality of healthcare suffered, and the community was left with a hospital that was ill-equipped to handle their health needs. John's actions may have improved his personal wealth, but at what cost? The community was deprived of quality education and healthcare. The unseen impact of this financial corruption is a community left to grapple with underfunded services, a community robbed of its potential. These are the consequences when money becomes the driving force behind decisions. The needs of the many are neglected for the wants of the few. When public officials prioritize personal wealth over public welfare, it's the common people who suffer. Their dreams and aspirations are stifled, their potential is untapped, and their trust in the system is shattered. When money becomes the driving force behind decisions, the needs of the many can be neglected for the wants of the few. Is it possible for individuals in power to resist the intoxicating allure of money? As we delve deeper into the relationship between money and morality, it's hard not to notice that the two are often at odds. Money, with its ability to open doors and create opportunities, can sometimes become a siren song to those in positions of power, leading them astray from the moral compass they once adhered to. Think of it this way. You're a public official in a position of power. You're responsible for the welfare of a large population. But then, money enters the picture, promising you comforts and luxuries beyond your wildest dreams. Unfortunately, these promises come at a cost. And that cost is often the well-being and prosperity of the very people you swore to protect. Take, for example, a former mayor in a small town. He was once loved and respected by his constituents, known for his dedication to public service. But when faced with the allure of money, he began to exploit his position. He started accepting bribes, neglecting his duties, and even siphoning off funds meant for public projects. The town, once thriving, began to deteriorate. The people who once admired him now saw him as a symbol of corruption. This is not an isolated incident. It's a story that happens over and over again in different parts of the world. Money, in these cases, distorts moral values. It turns public servants into self-serving individuals. It's a testament to how the allure of money can cloud judgment, leading to actions that prioritize personal gain over public good. But it's important to remember that not all those in power succumb to this allure. There are those who remain steadfast in their commitment to serve, who prioritize the welfare of their constituents over personal gain. These individuals remind us that it is indeed possible to resist the intoxicating allure of money. When money clouds judgment, the line between right and wrong can blur. But it's in these blurred lines that we find the true test of morality. Will we succumb to the allure of money? Or will we hold on to our principles and continue to serve the public good? Awareness is the first step towards change. So, how can we ensure that money is used for the betterment of society and not for personal gain? Transparency, accountability, and public participation are three pillars we can lean on to prevent corruption. Let's break these down. Transparency involves the open sharing of information. It's about ensuring that the public has a clear view of how money is being earned and spent. For instance, in Estonia, they've developed a system where every citizen can see how their taxes are being utilized. This kind of transparency leaves little room for underhanded deals and misappropriation of funds. Then we have accountability, which is essentially about answerability and enforceability. It's the assurance that those who misuse public funds will face consequences. An example of this is the Anti-Corruption Commission in Hong Kong, known as the ICAC. Over the last 4 decades, the ICAC has prosecuted thousands of cases, resulting in a significant reduction in corruption. Last, but certainly not least, is public participation. This is about encouraging citizens to be actively involved in monitoring and decision-making processes. In India, for example, social audits have been introduced to scrutinize government programs and spending. This initiative has empowered villagers across the country to question the misuse of public funds. Each of these pillars, transparency, accountability, and public participation, plays a crucial role in preventing corruption. They form a triangle of trust where each side supports the other. But this triangle is incomplete without awareness, without a vigilant public ready to question, ready to demand answers, and ready to act. But remember, awareness is not just about knowing what's wrong. It's about understanding what's right, what's possible, and what we can achieve when we use money for the common good. By staying informed and holding our leaders accountable, we can help ensure that money serves the public interest. In a world where money holds so much power, what can we do to protect ourselves and our communities from its potentially corrupting influence? We can start by being proactive, engaging in our political process, and holding our leaders accountable. You see, every vote we cast is a statement of our values, a testament to our desire for honest governance. We can also support initiatives that aim to combat corruption. These could be organizations that expose corrupt practices, or even laws and regulations that limit the power of money in politics. Moreover, we can spread awareness. Start conversations about these issues with your friends, family, or on your social media platforms. Encourage others to question the status quo and to demand transparency from those in power. Remember, the power to shape our society lies not in the hands of the few with money, but in the actions of the many who care about their community's welfare.